Hey guys, what's going on? It's Albert here, and today we're going to be ranking the Arkham games officially. Now, I probably made like a video about this before, but like I haven't made a definitive list about like the actual Arkham rankings that I've actually wanted. Besides making it like not like objective, I made it subjective. I was like maybe Arkham Origins and maybe like this one's like a definitive like list. Probably the last time I'll ever do this. So let's get into it. I actually want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comments below. So go ahead and tell me your guys' rankings for the Arkham games down below. I'll love to hear them. And go ahead and give a like as well, and we'll get into it right now. So the first game that I personally think is probably the worst Arkham game, and it's not like it's a bad thing, you know. All these games are great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that just because one's worse than the other, it's because they're terrible. It's because you know one's better than the other. This is how it is. So personally, I think Arkham Asylum is at the bottom of the list. Now, it's definitely the most definitive Arkham game. It's the game that started it all. It's the game that's probably been the most popular and inspiring different comic book adaptations of Batman and Arkham Asylum and stuff like that. And it's definitely been influential over the years for Arkham Asylum. So personally, I think that it's a great game. And in terms of story, it's okay. It's a good plot and it's very fun. But there's definitely more that they could have done in different ways. I think that it's an old game that definitely aged okay. It didn't age the best. I think the combat is very, very clunky. It's definitely one of the worst things about going back to this game is playing the combat. And that's something that you don't really want. The combat's fun. You get to throw people off like ledges and shit. That's awesome. Like, I personally love that shit. But, in terms of like the comparisons to the other Arkham games, it definitely does not stand the test of time as the best. It's not even close. And anybody that tries to even tell you it is going a little crazy. Arkham Asylum does not have the best combat. It doesn't even have the best stealth. That's very clunky as well. There's moments where you just feel like you're stuck in a position. You just can't go anywhere. You feel very weak sometimes. You feel like Batman, but you feel weak. And it's awesome that you're in the asylum and you're stuck there. And you have disadvantages like that. And I really do like the atmosphere and whatnot. But in terms of the other games, Arkham Asylum is definitely at the bottom. And, I just think that it's a great game, but it doesn't compare to the other ones. So the next one is Arkham Asylum. I personally think that Arkham Asylum is actually a lot better than Arkham Origins is a lot better than Arkham Asylum. It's a great game. It's definitely one that is, quote, underrated. I think a lot of people have been calling it underrated, and it's kind of becoming overrated, but at the same time, it's still, a game that a lot of people at launch did not appreciate. And I think that it's definitely a game that has a great story. It's a story that's somewhat mediocre, and in terms of like the Arkham canon, it's repetitive. We've seen Joker over and over again. We didn't want to see him over again. And we did in Arkham Origins. And that's kind of unfortunate. But, he still played a key part. And it was very, very fun to see all these villains kind of bounce off of each other in different ways. And, it was still very fun to see the rise of the Joker and their relationship in the start of this universe. It was nice to see that addition. Also, Roger Craig Smith, a lot of people would argue, is a lot better than Kevin Conroy at projecting his emotions as Batman. And with Arkham Asylum, I would say that Batman is kind of weak in projecting his emotions. I mean, there's not a lot there. Even in Arkham City and Arkham Knight. I think Arkham City, he does the best at projecting his emotions and kind of using his voice to use different emotions. There's a lot there. But Arkham Knight and Arkham Asylum, there's like, it's. There's a lot that could have been done that could have been a lot better. But in Arkham Origins, I don't think Roger Craig Smith misses a single beat. He's definitely one of the best in this game that, at least gives that portrayal of Batman, at least a younger Batman, very rageful, and it's very good. I really like what Roger Craig Smith did, and I personally wanted to see him in more games, but, they didn't. We decided to stay in the universe of the young Batman. It definitely has the Arkham City combat too, which gives it an advantage. I think that the Arkham City combat is one of the best in the series. Like, it feels so good. The only difference here is that you feel a little bit faster, and there's different like move sets. He has like a weird combat stance I kind of like. It's like very weird to look at, seeing Batman just like stand like that and just walk up to people like he's ready to just punch them in the face. I love it. And then, there's other additions to the combat and like different, variations of enemies and, boss battles too that were kind of regurgitated from the last game. So they were still fun, compared to Arkham Asylum. I think that they were still a lot better than Arkham Asylum's boss battles. So there's still things that are better. And I think that's why Arkham Origins is a little bit better than Arkham Asylum. And personally, I think that a lot of people should be, I think in terms of replayability, it's a lot better in terms of replayability than Arkham Asylum too. And there's also a multiplayer like that's kind of like a lot of people didn't play that multiplayer. I played that multiplayer a little bit, and that was a lot. That was a lot of fun. You know, there was different aspects to it, and there was a lot there that could have been explored. And definitely there's like some type of like basis there. There's a blueprint there that could have been expanded upon easily, but they decided not to. I personally think that could have gone so far, and that was a missed opportunity. But it was still really fun if you played it. Arkham Knight is definitely the second best game. There's flaws in this game. There's huge flaws in this game. But the one saving aspect of this game is the combat. And I would also say the story as well. There's like a lot of opinions about the story, and it's a very disappointing story in my opinion, but it's still like a story that you can still get behind and follow and still like replay. You know, it's a replayable story. But I personally think that the combat saves this game in more ways than one. Like, it's just perfect. It's the perfect Batman combat. They took everything from Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and were like, okay, how about we just make it perfect? And they let you hit people on the ground now. They let you pick up weapons. They let you throw objects. And just like those little changes definitely doesn't seem like a lot, but it changed the flow of the combat entirely, and it makes you feel like a monster. It makes you feel like you are actually like the combat ready Batman who's ready to just literally put people on the ground and punch them until they are unconscious. That's what I really like about this game. You know, there's a lot there in terms of what you could do with the combat, and just every moment that you have with the combat is never dull. I think a lot of people are, you know, kind of turned off and bitter about the Batmobile, but I think the Batmobile chases, those are definitely some of the funnest in the game, and those are some of the funnest in the Arkham series. Like, my Batmobile chases against those APCs are some of my most favorite memorable moments from all of the Arkham games. It's just so fun to chase them down and then finally catch up to them and just do some cool Batman takedown with the fucking Batmobile. Like, that's what I've always wanted. And, you know, coupled with the combat, that's just a huge bonus over the other two games like Arkham Origins and Arkham Asylum. It's just those two things are so perfect. And then you have that huge city that's also beautiful graphically. This game is not aged a single bit. Like, okay, that's the thing, is that it's time. It feels like it's timeless. The graphics feel like they're something from like a PS5 game. When you look back at it, that's like 2015, and it's like, holy shit, it looks phenomenal. Like, it looks so good. You cannot take a bad photo mode picture in this game. Which is also, I think, another plus in this game. They have photo mode, which is fucking awesome. I don't think any of the other Arkham games ever had that. Photo mode is definitely a plus in any game. And it's a little constricted, but it's still very good. And I think that the photo mode is very badass in this game as well. The story is mediocre. It's meh, you know, predictable, and kind of, like, stupid at times. But it's, like, not terrible. Like it's serviceable, you know. It's a Batman story through and through with goofy moments, and it's a disappointing ending to the trilogy. I know a lot of people wanted something different, but it's what we got, and I personally think that it was, if we were ranking it out of like a 6 out of 10, like it's like a 6 out of 10. It's a 7 out of 10 maybe. You know, and Arkham Asylum is like a 7 out of 10, and Arkham Origins is maybe like, in terms of story, in terms of execution, it's probably like a 7 out of 8 out of 10. So, you know, all the Arkham games are meh in terms of plot, but it just depends on how they execute it. And, you know, Arkham Origins and Arkham City are probably the best at executing their plots, and Arkham Knight just kind of fell flat in some regards. But, you know, a lot of people think that Joker saved the game. A lot of people think that Scarecrow's, you know, voice actor, I forgot what his name is, like Jonathan something, he did amazing, you know, as Scarecrow. And everybody did great in the cast. I think a lot of people would rank this game highly upon the Arkham games, and that's where I'm ranking it now. It's the second best. Number 1, I think everybody was looking forward to, everybody knew it was coming, it's Arkham City. I personally think that this game is the most well-rounded, perfect Arkham game. It has a perfect city. It's not too big, it's not too small. It's perfect to fucking roam around, and I really do enjoy roaming around the city. It has the perfect combat. Again, it's not too fast, it's not too slow. It's like right there, it's just right. It's right there in the middle where it's like you're roaming around as Batman, kicking ass, but you don't feel like you're overpowered, but you don't feel like you're underpowered. You feel like you're right there, right in the middle, feeling powerful enough. And then you have the fucking story, which is just the perfect story. It's not too slow, it's not too fast, and it's not too wacky. It's like right there in the perfect middle ground where it's almost just perfect. There's nothing wrong with this game in my opinion. There might be a few plot lines that people might not agree with or like, but in my personal opinion, I think that this game is perfect, and there's not much wrong with this game. And you're gonna have to convince me very hard to say that this is not the best Arkham game, because it's just the most replayable in my opinion. Maybe Arkham Knight's actually the most replayable in terms of combat, but in terms of having like the most experienced Batman moments and like the most, you know, well-rounded, immersed Batman experience, Arkham City is definitely the one. And I think that this is one of the best games of all time. I would put it upon my best 3. Like, I think that this game definitely ranks upon some of the best games ever. And it's just amazing what they did. You know, it's the perfect sequel. And they took everything from Arkham Asylum and just made it 10 times better. I really think that this is the perfect game. So tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I want to hear your guys' rankings in the comments. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe for more videos coming very soon. Peace out.